So I saw this tag on Nathan's next channel, who will be linked in the description below. I was not tagged, but I thought the questions were interesting, so I thought I would answer them anyway. The first question is, have you ever lied about reading a book? And yes, I have. Definitely a lot. Not on this channel or in recent years, but as a teenager, I definitely lied about having read books that I hadn't read because I thought I should have read them. And also as a student, I lied about having read books that were on my course list that I then never actually got round to reading. So I have a classics degree and I've never read the Iliad or the Aeneid or even the Metamorphoses, and I did my dissertation on the Metamorphoses. So I read parts of it, I read a lot of scholarship around them, but I never read them. And similarly with other classic novels that I thought I should have read. I can't remember any specific examples because now I can only remember the books that I have actually, the classics I've actually read, but I definitely, in the past, lied about them. It doesn't bother me anymore. I have no qualms being like, nah, never read it, about books that I feel like I should have read or I used to. I think I've lost a lot of the sort of self-consciousness around the idea of books I should have read, books I should have seen, like films I should have seen, things like that. I've definitely lost a lot of the self-consciousness around that. There's only a certain amount of time in everybody's life, and maybe I've read a lot of books that are not quality literature, whatever that means, but you know, they did what I needed them to do at the time. And so I don't think I would lie about having read a book, say I've read a book anymore, and I don't think I have for at least 10 years. Question number 2, have you ever avoided a book because of controversy around the content or the author? And the answer is yes, and that one is, since I started talking about all the books I read on the internet, that is definitely a change now. It's more usually controversy around the author than controversy around the content, and usually it's because I don't feel at that time capable of having a conversation about it. Like if the author is dead, I will read them, even if the author is controversial. I think if the author is dead, then I don't have any qualms talking about it, or I have fewer qualms talking about it. Like everyone, all of like Tolstoy is misogynistic. Of course he is. He's a Russian man from the 19th century, or just a man from the 19th century. Like he is going to be misogynistic. Or Yukio Mishima was a real weirdo, but that doesn't mean that I can't read their works. So I guess controversy about dead authors doesn't really affect me at all. But when it's a sort of live current controversy, I think sometimes it's worth having that conversation, and it can be interesting to read a book anyway, or to seek to make your own decision about something, to have your own opinion about some controversy. But sometimes I'm just like, I can't be asked to engage in that discourse. I'd rather just stay out of it. So sometimes, yeah, sometimes I can't. Again, I think Bridget Collins maybe is one who was like kind of turfy, but I heard that she was turfy, but I couldn't be bothered to look into it, and so I've just not read any more of her books. But like, that's not really a huge miss for me. Yeah, I think probably what I do is if I hear this controversy around an author and I'm not super interested, I just forget about them. So that's basically for me. It's because I do tell you all of the books that I read. I never read a book and then just don't talk about it, unless it's a reread, but then I'm like, that doesn't count anyway. So I think that's why if I'm like not feeling ready to engage in that sort of conversation, then I just avoid it. Question number 3, have you ever been sent a book for free and not disclosed it? No, that has never happened. If I am reading a proof, I will tell you it's a proof. If I post about it on Instagram, I'll be like, thanks for the proof. Potentially, maybe I've forgotten with like Libro FM audiobooks, but I don't think so. Because I've actually just not listened to a lot of them. So that was the thing with me. I don't get sent free books anymore, because I started requesting them when I had like 1,000 subscribers, and I'd get sent some, and then I just wouldn't read them. Like I have some that were sent to me in like 2021 or 2022 that I haven't read yet, and so I decided to stop requesting them because I was like, I'm never going to get around to them. So for now, for the most part, the only things that I get are either NetGalley, which I think I do mention, or Libro FM audiobooks. I got sent 2 of the Booker Prize shortlist longlist books that hadn't come out yet in the UK when the longlist was announced, but I made a whole video talking about that, and I mentioned the ones that were gifted. The only way I would not disclose it is if I forgot that it was Libro FM and therefore I didn't pay for it. Have you ever bought a book with no intention of reading it? No. I don't think so. I always intend to read the books that I buy. Have I bought books and then not read them for 10 years? Yes, that happens, because I'm like, buy it on a whim and then the whim goes and I never get around to reading the book. That definitely happens. Or I buy a book kind of in a like virtuous moment where I'm like, I will read this book. And then I just never get around to it because I become intimidated by it, or I'm like not actually that interested. It's just like the hype maybe, or the way other people have talked about it has got me interested, but then anything philosophical I tend to avoid. But that's the kind of thing that I'm like, oh, virtuously I should be reading this kind of philosophical, thought-provoking book. But I studied ancient Greek philosophy at university and I hated it. It was so boring. So I'm just not a super philosophical person. Like, I feel like I've got too much skeptical practical for philosophy, I think. Number 5, have you ever got caught up in BookTube drama? No. I've got like 6,000 subscribers. Who's beefing with me? No one. I did once try to have BookTube drama with Kieran from KD Books. He was looking for some drama, but he decided Waterstones was a better fit for that beef. I tend to avoid drama in my real life as well. I'm not a particularly dramatic person. I used to work in pubs all the time, which, because you have a lot of people under the age of 25 working around alcohol, there tends to be a lot of drama, and I was always like, nah, I'm Switzerland in this situation, I'm not getting involved. But yeah, also I don't really know any of the BookTube drama. I feel like my little circle of BookTube is not a particularly dramatic place to be. Question number 6. Have you ever had a hate comment and did you respond? I had one comment where there was a video where I talked about J.K. Rowling being a TERF and Roald Dahl being anti-Semitic, and someone commented on it underneath, like calling me an idiot, and then I did respond, and then they called me a spinster. But I think that was like as much of a hate comment as I've ever had. I've had some weird comments, which I don't really think are hate comments. They're just like maybe slightly creepy occasionally, but it's not very common, and usually they just make me laugh. So the only thing that the comment that I get, that on most of my videos I don't get any sort of bad comments at all, but the videos that have the more views, like video essays that I've done, will obviously have more comments on them. And whilst I wouldn't describe them as hate comments, because they're usually engaging with the things that I'm saying rather than just being about me, or engaging with the title of the video, at least, even if they haven't actually watched it, and just disagreed with the title, which was particularly true on the Wuthering Heights video I did. But at least those people are engaging with ideas, and so I wouldn't consider them hate comments. Some of them are worded kind of rudely, but I don't really consider it hate. But I don't respond to comments on video essays once they've been up for like a month or two. The only comment that I do kind of get semi-regularly, and again it is generally on those video essays, like on videos where people who don't watch me comment, is that people say that I talk too fast. Someone commented that I had clearly sped up a video one time. I haven't sped up any of my videos. I have a couple of times slowed down my videos because of comments like that, but I speak this fast. I watch YouTube on 2 times speed, I listen to podcasts on 3 times speed, I even watch Netflix on 1.5 times speed. Like, I prefer things to be sped up because this is the speed that I naturally speak at. So people who speak slowly, I find more frustrating and like boring and tend to click off. So I guess for me, it's just a personal preference thing. And so I don't feel like catering to people who wish I would slow down, because like for me, that would be unnatural. I'm not speaking fast because I'm like uncomfortable or awkward on camera. I actually am probably speaking slower now than I do in real life. And even then, this is fast for a lot of people. So for me, I feel like it would feel really unnatural, uncomfortable and awkward to slow down because it's just not how I speak. Number 7, have you ever made a video just because you knew it would get views? Yes. Well, not just because I knew it would get views, but my Persuasion video that I made when Netflix's Persuasion came out. That was after I had made a few different videos about Jane Austen movie adaptations, and that film was just come out on Netflix. Lots of people were watching it. It was being very badly received critically. So I knew that a video knocking it would do well. So I posted that knowing it was going to get a lot of views, and it did. But I did try and do like a spin on it to focus more on the thing about it that interested me, about Anne Elliot's character and how she's not like other Jane Austen characters. And so the way that they did their adaptation didn't work based on like the source material. But I knew I was going to make a video about that because it would get views, and then when I watched it, that was the perspective that I got. Question number 8. If you could go back to the beginning of your channel, would you do anything differently? I would make sure my camera was on the correct settings, because for the first like 3 months of this channel, the camera that I was using was on a weird setting and everything was really dark, and I was editing on my iPad and I couldn't make it not really dark. So I would sort that out. But apart from that, I don't know, because like, if I really wanted to grow this channel and be a lot of a much bigger channel than I am, I would focus on video essays about Jane Austen film adaptations and maybe some other classics film adaptations and stuff, because that's the stuff that people watch the most on this channel. But they're a lot of work, and I'm not like, I've said what I want to say. There's not that much more to say about film adaptations of Jane Austen. I feel like it would get rinsed really quickly. So I haven't done that. And the first one I made right at the end of my first year on here, but it didn't take off for like 6 months. So I don't know, maybe I would just chill out, because right now I feel fairly relaxed about YouTube in general. It's a hobby. I know I'm not going to grow huge, and I'm kind of relaxed about that, because it doesn't really matter to me anymore. It definitely has done at moments in the past. But right now I feel fairly chilled out about it, and I think maybe be more chill would be in general. But I started this in the pandemic. Like, I was doing it because I was not working and I had nothing else to do. So I don't know. I think in general, most of the stuff that I've learned has been stuff that you have to do to learn. So I don't know if there's much that I could like tell myself and I would know. And I'm also like not particularly good at this. Like I'm not like excellent at this. So I'm sure there's way more that I could learn than I have to teach. Question number 9. Are there any channels you wish you could be more like? Yeah, I guess the channels that I really enjoy watching, I would like to be more like Nathan's videos, who I mentioned at the start. His videos are beautiful, and he does a lot of like visual interest, and like they're much more artistic than my videos. And like Sophie, similarly, they have a lot of style. I'm not a particularly stylish person, so I don't think like the aesthetic of my videos. I'm more like chaos than aesthetic, so I don't think that that's going to be something that I could do. Even like Carrie Cakes, who does have a BookTube channel, but I more watch her other channel. Anyway, there's just the vibe. I wish I had more of that vibe, but I think I just don't as a person. Like, I am not an introvert. I am not a like contained person who can really focus on the aesthetic. Like, I'm a bit all over the place. So I think that that's never going to be something I can do. Sophie and Nathan, I do love the way that they discuss books with like reference to themselves, reference to other bits of art, reference to like how it figures for them emotionally. But again, I think that for me, I am much more like analytical in terms of the way that I'm talking about books. So it is less that expansive way of talking about books. It's just not how they figure in my brain. According to Alina, does a lot of video essays, and I do wish I could do more video essays, but they are so much work. They are so much work, and I like have a full-time job, which I'm sure other people do, but it's just not something that I feel like I can focus on. I'm really impressed with like the strategy and the consistency with Books and Lana's channel. I think she is really engaging. She reads books that I don't read. She is not like the best reviewer of books compared to like Nathan and Sophie, but there's something about the way she edits and the strategy and the way she like engages that I also wish I could be more like, I suppose. And then the final question is, what do you love about your channel? I love the fact that it exists and that I have a place where I can talk about things. I am proud of the video essays that I have done. Most of them I think are pretty interesting, and they took a lot of work, but I think it worked out. I am trying to work on some more at the moment, but every time it gets pushed off and pushed off. Like some of my travel videos, I really like the like editing I've done on some of those travel videos, and some of my vlogs as well. Not all of them. Some of them are much more slapdash, but when I actually focus, I think I can do some interesting things, particularly my Scotland video, which I'll leave a link in the cards above if you want to go check that out. I was pretty proud of that one. And I think I'm pretty good at being concise and reviewing books in a way that gives you what's the book about, what did I like about it, what did I not like about it, like in a very straightforward, understandable, manageable way. I think that's like my skill in terms of talking about books, at least. So there you go. That's me trying to be as honest as possible with you. That last question was quite difficult to answer. I feel uncomfortable. But I hope you enjoyed it. I will leave the original creator in the description along with all the questions if you want to answer anything in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.